Hello everyone, welcome to round 8 of Grand Prix Atlanta. There you see Mr. Samuel H. Black. Sam Black up against the Conley Woods, the one, the only. Great to see them here. We'll have to check what their record is actually, because I don't think they are.
I believe they both have one loss.
They're one loss, okay. And I can tell you that part of the reason we are here, which Rashad is going to abound you with in the early turns.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm just waiting for you to...
There is some interesting stuff going on in Sam Black's deck, which I'm going to take a look at.
Now, if you look at, if you're looking at the cards that are in Sam Black's hand, you may have noticed an Undiscovered Paradise. Now, that's not a land that you usually see in a lot of Magic decks. Most notably, it's been in the dredge decks because of the use of it to be able to return, say, Bloodghast. Now, so usually, whenever you see Undiscovered Paradise, there's probably a Bloodghast right behind. Now, another interesting card that's in Sam Black's deck, Goblin Bombardment. Red in the colorless, sacrifice a creature, target creature or player, deal 1 damage. So, I think you can see where this is going. We're bringing back Bloodghast, we're sacrificing things to the Carrion Feeder. I think there might be a Blood Artist or 2 in this deck. We need to take a look at this deck list. They're coming over right now. But this is going to be pretty exciting. And I actually heard a funny story, Rich, that Godinez Vidigaris, you know that these guys, Godinez and Sam Black, they test a lot.
Yep.
Godinez wanted to play this deck that Sam Black was playing, but Sam Black refused to let him play it because he didn't want to feel responsible.
When it all went horribly wrong?
Exactly. But it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see this deck in action. And we did have Conley Woods in the booth earlier. I don't know if he talked a little bit about his deck.
No, not really.
He's talking more about the M13 pre-release cards.
I'm surprised when Garanis asked Sam for his deck, Sam didn't say, no, I only give my deck to winners.
Second place, not good enough.
Yeah, insufficient.
Wow.
Better luck next time.
But Conley Woods Reanimator, we don't really have to say more, do we?
Okay. So there's a Thoughtseize.
And there's that Brainstorm in response. They like to do that when you and I are in the booth.
Yeah. Heidi.
So this is when Brainstorm, instead of, putting better cards in your hand from your deck, well, you put all the good cards from your hand on top of the deck. And then when you show it to your opponent from the Thoughtseize, look at all these cards I don't care about. Well, I don't care as much about them.
Yeah. And I'm going to pretend I don't care about it at all.
So, Undiscovered Paradise. When's the last time you've seen that land tap for mana?
1997.
Really?
Approximately.
Was that when Tempest was released?
Somewhere around about then. Yeah. Was it Weatherlight originally? I think it might be.
It was Tempest Block. I want to say, it was Weatherlight because it was Tempest. I think it was Tempest.
Really? Well,
I think it was actual Tempest.
I'm actually going to look it up. I had a feeling it was around just before I started because Tempest pre-release was my first.
I mean, we could just go hit the middle and say Stronghold.
Visions.
Oh, Visions. We were just all wrong.
We're one set out either way.
Right.
Okay.
So he takes the Force of Will, probably the best card that he can take. There's Double Entomb and a Grizzleband left. Couple land. What did he put on top? It's kind of a secret now. Ooh, a really good one. Brainstorm. You actually missed my Tide Hollow Sculler story a little bit earlier. That's what Sam Black just drew.
Okay.
We were, Sheldon and I were talking about, the arts on cards. Rather, he was talking about the art on Ponder, which I had absolutely no idea what it was because I don't look at art.
Oh, interesting.
I just see
How do you identify the cards?
I see a collection of colors in somewhat
and vague
pattern.
shapes.
Yes, vague shapes in which I go, oh, that's this card.
Oh, sure, yeah. Right. I have no idea what some of them are.
Yeah. Did you know that Tide Hollow Sculler was a guy in a boat?
There's a clue there. I mean, a sculler.
I just saw a half moon shape
Fair
with
enough.
a line in the middle. It was interesting.
Like that.
There it is. So I usually like to talk about a card for a long time until they actually play it.
Okay.
Sometimes that doesn't work out too well. When it costs like 8 and it's stuck at 3.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen the most interesting card from Sam Black, which is
There are many interesting cards in Sam Black's deck.
I think Arbor Bombardment is pretty high on that list. Though.
That is super sexy.
And there's a lot of synergy, especially with cards like Tidehunter Scholar. Whereas, you stack the triggers in a way that card never comes back that you exile from your opponent's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we also have Mesmeric Themes in this deck?
Don't think we do, no. He has your Grave Crawlers, which seems reasonable. Some Carrion Feeders.
Lingering Souls, getting some value out of that card.
Yeah, Faithless Looting, Thoughtseize, Cabal Therapy. You've got your Tidehollow Skull, which you can already see. Some Blood Artists, making some... That's interesting, that's such a little card. Turning up in such a big format. It's like, hello, I'm a Blood Artist. I'm quite good in Sealed, in Avacyn Restored. Oh my god, I'm in Legacy!
That's exactly how I thought the Blood Artist would sound.
Yeah, I know. I do voice artist work for many of the cards in Magic.
I bit my tongue. I did not realize you did that. That was a literal tongue bite, not figurative.
Okay. So you're bleeding right now? Just a little?
Maybe.
You're our very own Blood Artist.
Wow. Why did I let that happen?
I have no idea.
So he takes one in tune, and the other one gets a card that's a little bit off screen. It's black, so it's probably a Grizzlebrand.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that second one is.
Yeah, Grizzlebrand with an tune on top. And there we go. There's a Reanimate on said Grizzlebrand.
Can I have it back? Yeah.
Now, a lot of the things we were also talking about, Sheldon and I, is the way, how do you fight the Reanimator deck? Do you stop the reanimation, or do you stop the threat once it's been reanimated?
Bitter Blossom, says Sam. I mean, I like the Gilded Drake. I think that's super saucy.
Right.
Because it's not only an answer, but it's an answer with knobs on, as we might say.
Right.
It's like, thanks. It's one of those.
Right. And taking a look at Sam's list, I don't see a whole lot of interaction with a Grizzlebrand that's already in play. And actually, game one, I don't see a lot of interaction
Tragic Slip.
with one.
He has a Tragic Slip.
There is a Tragic Slip.
Yeah.
That's a big game. That is a card that is looking to step its game up, especially in a format like Legacy. It's a black, so it's a Plowshare, maybe? Especially in a deck that has a lot of sacrifice outlets, like Sam Black's. And here comes a Blood Gas.
I suppose in some ways it's a bit of a surprise to find that he's gone with that route with a Tragic Slip rather than Swords to Plowshares. He has mana set up to be able to do.
That is interesting.
I wonder what that's about. Because it hasn't, he's clearly decided against them, both main and board. There's no...
Well, you're mitigating the life gain. The life gain just doesn't happen. So we played the Blood Gas. We sacrificed the Blood Gas to Carrion Feeder, then played a land, which allowed us to get Blood Gas back onto the battlefield. And that land happened to be Undiscovered Paradise, so we get to do that again.
Okay.
Looks like the plan is to race.
Yeah.
I haven't done the math yet, but we'll
Conley
see.
at 7, but about to go back to 14.
Right.
One would think.
These attacks, at the very least, stop Conley from getting card advantage off of his Grizzlebrand. So now it's really mostly just an 8-8. 7-7.
Thank you.
Yeah, 7-7.
It is mostly just an 8-8. It's like 87.5% of an 8-8.
That's true.
Math.
Looks like you've done the math.
Like our last guest.
So here comes the attack with Grizzlebrand. There's probably going to be a block with a Bitter Blossom token, I'd have to imagine. A block and a sack? Wow. Forgot about that. There's not going to be any life gain.
No.
Even if Conley attacks or blocks. I'd like to think that Sam Black had Reanimator in mind when he kind of constructed his deck. These little tweak interactions, being able to race a Grizzlebrand. This board position right here races Grizzlebrand.
Yeah.
Easily.
Mock's Grizzlebrand for being a bit average, really.
Which
is the moral of the story.
I think Grizzlebrand deserves to be average right about now. We should see a game where he's just not, the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. Not getting it done.
So we're going to go for a second threat.
Entomb. The thing is, I assume that's Elish Norn, which we can see from the 1/19th of the card that's visible on screen.
I think the only other white card, if there is one, no, Conley is not playing Iona, so it is Elish Norn. And we have Reanimate, Elish Norn costs 7. Oh, that won't work. Ponder.
So he's basically looking for Animate Dead.
Right. Or Exhume. Exhume's, I think Exhume's fine in this situation as well. Oh, wow.
There will be no exhuming.
Conley is not playing Exhume. He's ready for the mirror. There had to be some consideration in the mirror match.
Sure.
Not play Exhume. And he draws Tidespell Tyrant. Another Bitter Blossom token for Sam Black. Undiscovered Paradise returned to his hand during his untap. I believe that's when it happens. Black Cabal Therapy targeting Conley Woods. Now, how many of those cards does Sam Black already know about? I don't think it's any. I think all of those are new cards. Not sure what was named.
Tyrant, Careful Study, Reanimate, 3 land, including Caracas.
I don't see Caracas being any factor in this matchup.
While Sam's jotting everything down, I've got a tweet from Mark Rickle. Thank you very much, Mark, to say that Manvis Samra is filling the last England slot. A very strong team overall, says Mark. I agree. Manveer played him at a bunch of PTQs. He's a very solid player. Maybe not well known to people outside England, but an excellent addition to the team. God save the Queen, all in all. A top 10 finish on the cards, I think.
So it looks like Sam Black doesn't have quite enough for an elite and lethal attack here. He can get through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say a block probably needs to happen on the carrion feeder if there is an attack with all of Sam Black creatures. Now Black has his haste now because Conley's at below 10 life.
I think there's an encounter in Jules the Planeswalkers that just makes endless blood gusts.
That seems really interesting.
You Oblivion Ring like 3 of them, and then they Wrath of God, Day of Judgment, and then they bring back another 4 from the graveyard because it's not a deck, it's an encounter.
Speaking of Duels of the Planeswalker, I think I'm gonna do a little bit of playing that and streaming it live.
On what? Are you Xboxing?
I think I might switch platforms around. I have it on iPad.
I just adore it on iPad. It's just great.
Such a great interface. I think I'm going to do the first one on iPad. See how far I can get in the campaigns with each deck. We're going to all clear Duels of the Planeswalker 13.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Unlock every card.
Every card. I can't wait.
Not that we like Magic much or anything.
Okay, so a Reanimate on Elish Norn.
Yep.
Gets Sam Black to scoop because he didn't have any creatures anymore.
Because everything died.
Well, except for the carrion feeder. That guy doesn't do well on his own, though. Can't block. He just kind of hangs out. He's not there. He's like, hey guys, I'm just here to hang out.
Yeah. So it turns out Grizzlebrand, not altogether mediocre.
Did Grizzlebrand actually win that game? Technically, it attacked for 7, yes.
So in that sense,
It
yes.
did. But it was Elishnorn that
Yeah.
made it possible for,
Yeah, absolutely.
for Hollywood. So,
Yes, he needed Plan B,
yeah.
and there it was.
And that's why there are 4 Grizzlebrands and then 1 Tidespout Tyrant and 1 Elishnorn and 1 Sphinx to still win.
Drew Levin wandering by. He is X and 1,
He had a pretty...
featuring a
Yeah.
tribal instant.
Yeah, we actually talked about this in the last round because this was in
Oh, did
the
it crop up?
sideboard. Well, it was in the
For
sideboard.
Matt Costa, Alexander Hayne in
Yeah.
that match.
I think Matt Costa has it in his sideboard.
Okay. Not of this world. So I think of you, Richard,
Thank you.
because you're out of this world. You're welcome.
Thanks. I mean, I guess I have to take it as a compliment.
I think that's best for both our health.
So, this is when we look at the sideboards. We could do boarding with Rashad. Not the same ring.
Richard on board.
Yeah. I was trying to mix it up just a little bit.
Ah,
I didn't want to completely just plagiarize someone else's segment. But okay, so let's look at Collywoods. Now,
it's time for the Limited Resources Round 8 podcast with Rashad Miller.
we'll do the rounds throughout the weekend.
Here on StarCityGames.com or something. Come on then.
So, for show and tell,
Yes.
that's plan B from the sideboard, or your first sideboard plan, because you just don't know what the hate's going to be
For the graveyard.
for your graveyard. Is it going to be Tormod's Crypt? Is it going to be
Relic of Progenesis.
Yeah, Relic of Progenesis. Is it going to be Grafdigger's Cage?
Someone played Leyline of the Void,
Yeah,
I heard about
yeah,
it.
Is it going to be Leyline of the Void? And there's so many different types of graveyard hate. You don't know what you need to counteract the ones that they bring in. So instead, you bring in for Show and Tell, and you just bypass your graveyard altogether. He has a couple of Jace Demise Sculptors. I can't imagine that being a card that you bring in this matchup. It almost seems like a mirror match card, just so you have an alternate way of winning without relying on your graveyard. We got some more. We got a Coffin Purges. We got Iona. His Iona's in the sideboard, but didn't even click. I don't see that in Submerge. That's probably not coming in either. It's not the right colors.
Incidentally, the way you presented it, and this is not a criticism, the way you presented that show and tell was, in one level, a kind of defensive measure. Like, I don't know how much hate is coming at my graveyard, therefore I may need to shift away, hide in the shadows of a different route. But what I really like about that is that if there is always that possibility that in exactly the same way as you board out all your creature removal in a game because you haven't seen anything from them, and so you then board in massive threats that they can't deal with because they've seen no creatures. In a similar way, there's graveyard removal that you're going, yeah, well done, thanks for putting those in. I'm just going to show and tell you to death. There's a kind of active, thanks for putting in the graveyard hate that I don't care about. Well done.
I mean, that's what you're always looking for when you have, a sideboard plan.
Yeah.
The whole, now I have a different plan, because that's what your sideboard is for, create a different plan. And if you are able to negate their different plan, all the better.
So let's see how we go here in game 2 of round 8. Both these players playing for day 2 in this round, and the loser will have at least one more shot at it. If Sam Black loses, he could yet be in day 2 with a 6-3 record for the second week running.
Now, I don't remember how many players are in this tournament. Do you know the number?
904.
904. It'll be close. It's pretty close. For
Yeah,
a couple of 6-3s are going to
They
make
seem
it.
to feel that the 6-2 ones are pretty safe, and that 6-3, maybe some 1 or 2 make it in.
So we have a Faithless Looting.
We do.
And we already see that Conley has a show and tell in hand. 1 mana, Ponder.
So, precedent.
So We didn't actually touch on Sam Black's sideboard. He has a couple of surgical extractions and 2 pith needle. And nothing else really, affects the graveyard. There's a couple of go for the throats. I guess he can kill Gristlebrand with that if he wants.
Reach out. Thing is, it just comes back again with another of these many thousand reanimated.
Yeah, that was
it?
that was the face that I was making that the people watching the game couldn't see. It's like you could bring in the go for the throats, but it just puts the Gristlebrand back where the reanimator deck wants it.
So yeah, well, you wanted something like we're back with the white. The conversation about swords to plowshares. About things like Path to Exile.
Well, they get a land. The thing is, Tragic Slip. There's no benefit to
the other player. Absolutely, I get that.
The only thing you just need to be able to enable it, which it seems like Sam Black's deck has a ton of ways to enable its Tragic Slip. So it just becomes better than Swords of Plowshare, except for all those 14 toughness creatures out there. 14 and up. Then Sam Black is wishing he had a different card.
So it appears to have
those crows and skyscrapers.
Lots of messing around here with Sam Black and Bloodghasts and
There's a lot of shuffling in this format.
yeah, and here come Bloodghast again.
That was actually pretty good Faithless looting. See Bloodghast on the graveyard. I've always had dreams of casting Buried Alive for 3 Bloodghast. I mean, I've also had dreams of casting Buried Alive for 3 Narcomoebas.
I've had dreams of being buried alive. I don't think that's quite the same.
You get all your Narcomoebas into the battlefield if you're buried alive. It's pretty interesting. We'll save that for a deck doctor, because I'm the deck doctor also.
Okay.
Deck Doctor Rashad Miller. So there's a Carrion Feeder, so we are ready to eat some blood gas. That's what that guy is.
Yeah, that's what it's been doing. Ready to over here, back here again. Oh, there's a land back here.
Currently thinking about what land to play, and he decides on a Misty Rainforest. Passes the turn. He has a Brainstorm in his hand that he can cast at the end of turn. I think he also have a Daze?
Yep.
Interesting.
He does. He's setting himself up towards a show and tell turn. But Legacy has plenty of efficient disruption, one of which is Thoughtseize.
Got a feeling we're going to see a Brainstorm in response. Oh, Force of Will instead, pitching the Brainstorm.
Okay.
So that makes me wonder what card in his hand is the show and tell. That's what he's protecting. And he wants to use his Brainstorm to try to find a show and tell target, because I don't think he has a Grizzlebrand yet. I see a Reanimate, I see a couple of land.
Sure. So there's Crack. He's Conley Woods.
That's a specialty. Ooh. Full price days.
Yeah. Did you know that Force of Will had an alternate casting cost?
Yeah.
Pay 5 mana.
Yeah, I actually did not know that.
It's one of those things that you would have to watch a lot of Legacy before you saw happen. Yeah, 5 mana counter spell.
And here's the show and tell. Oh, we did already have the Grizzlebrand. I have to imagine that whatever Sam Black is going to add to the battlefield is going to dwell in comparison. I can only imagine. Oh, I think I know what it is. I think it's a land.
Yeah, because we just seen Bloodghast sacrifice.
Yeah, we just saw a bunch of Bloodghast go to the graveyard in response, and there it is. I mean, still pretty good.
Okay, I appreciate this may be a stupid question, but against a show and tell deck,
Okay.
is Grizzlebrand a reasonable sideboard?
I don't know that you want to bring in Grizzlebrands just in the
Because you're
hopes-
never gonna have a way to cast it.
Yeah, things are gonna line up, and it's really a dead card if they don't show and tell because the reanimator decks don't take out their reanimate spells. They still have both out. They still have both paths to victory.
So
Oh wow.
Grizzlebrand is blocking a carrion feeder.
Well, I mean, we know why because there's double reanimate
Yeah,
in Conley's hand, so he gets to gain his life because I don't think the Sam Black wants to sacrifice his carrion feeder, just to stop Conley from.
Nope. Sam
staying
wants
alive.
to put his carrion feeder to 11-11. And then bring right 3 Bloodgusts. And now add a Dark Confidence to the table.
That's out of the sideboard.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it looks like Conley's doing a little bit of math, trying to decide if he does play Grizzlebrand. See, now the whole sacrificing your carrion feeder to itself is a death blow. Because Conley would have to block the carrion feeder. If he uses the reanimate to reanimate his Grizzlebrand, he's going to go down to 4. And he's not going to gain the life from that block exchange.
Oh, hello. It's Grizzlebrand again.
But we're going for it. Let's see. I don't see how Conley doesn't take 4. I guess he had no other plays. I think this is just a hope my opponent doesn't do that.
Well, I mean, it's only Sam Black, one of the best players in the world, so, what are the chances that he'll work out the correct play here?
Well, that's true, but you still have to give yourself a non-zero chance of anything.
That's right.
So Tie-Ho Sculler comes down and Conley says, I'm not showing you my hand. We're just done. Let's just go to game 3.
Yep. I can tell you that Brad Nelson reached 7-0 last round. He had a difficult match, he felt. It was at 1-1. He felt he was up against it, but pulled out the win there. Todd Anderson went to 7-0 as well.
Well, it's good to see Brad Nelson, up at the top of the standings again.
Well,
although he did get second in Minnesota? Yeah, Minneapolis.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this morning with Sheldon about how his rehabilitation, for want of a better term, not that he's been ill, but his next phase of his Magic career after that huge slump post winning the Player of the Year. He's not quite there. You can see he's enthused. You can see he's playing good Magic.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't quite got the numbers he wanted. He was top 32 at the Pro Tour in Barcelona, but was never really at the races for it. It was one of those 75th to 58th to 44th to 29th kind of thing, rather than playing in 5th with 3 rounds to go and then not quite making it. It was an up rather than a down to top 32.
But this is still an improvement to the year following.
Well, I mean, he didn't go 0-3. It was an improvement. I mean, generally, I'm not point scoring on Brad. Brad had a horrific run, just horrific. And as he said, there is an element of variance to the game, and he had all the luck in the world in his historic run to Player of the Year. And he said, you know what? In some ways, it was just I played some bad decks, I made some wrong choices, sure, I wasn't quite on my game, and his real life as well, away from the table, involved some moves, some getting, and now he's back on track, very much in a Magic fold. I mean, what do Star City people do when they finish work for the day? Play Magic.
Seems about right.
Although some of them don't, because some of them have to write about Magic.
Yeah.
Some people have to play Magic and then write about Magic, but that's basically your 3 options.
Yeah.
I've not been to Roanoke, but I'm pretty sure those are in fact the 3 options in Roanoke.
Yeah, I mean, that's his game. Luck, skill, victory. Maybe I should write that article too.
I thought you were going to write that as your autobiography. Luck, skill, victory.
I'll
The
call-
Rashad
yeah.
Miller story.
The Rashad Miller. It's luck, skill, victory, parentheses, LSV, the Rashad Miller story. What do you think? Got a ring? A ring to it?
I think that's...
I might be able to make that happen.
I actually think luck, skill, victory for Lewis Scott Vargas is pretty awesome.
That's
actually pretty sexy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he came up with that name for his article himself, but
Yeah.
he's kind of masterful in making words play together
Oh,
well. Not as good as, say, me or you. Sure, I'll give you a little pat on the back.
Thank you.
All right, 1-1, 2020, round 8, time to rock and roll with a thought seize.
This card's going to go down to 17, and Sam Black's deck doesn't really have any interaction with this card, so he's just going to plop his hand on the board. Plop it down. We got a couple of Faithless Lootings. Don't know if any of those are going to hit the graveyard, especially with there being 2. There's a Surgical Extraction. So it looks like Sam Black did bring in the go for the throat. I guess if your plan is to race, then, you know, destroying a Grizzlebrand would go to the throat. It's a fine play.
Yeah.
It's probably better than some of the other cards that he already had in his deck laid out.
It's interesting that there's a surgical extraction there too, though. So,
Yeah.
so
It's
Conley
def-
has to, there's a point at which Conley will have to be very careful.
Right. I think Surgical Extraction is what's going to get chosen with Thoughtseize, because it's obviously not Bloodghast. Go for the throat. It's probably not his biggest concern. And the Faithless Looting, there's 2, and it has flashback. But I've been wrong before,
No.
and Conley is still thinking about it. Oh, Conley has a show and tell. That's why he's thinking about it.
Ah.
He doesn't care about the Surgical Extraction.
Yep. Here, you have those, and now let's telegraph what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, this is definitely a telegraph here. The only reason to consider not taking the Surgical Extraction
Is
and
if you-
taking the
is if
go
you
for
don't
thought.
care.
Right. But and then the added information of I'm considering go for the throat means that you already have a way to get a creature onto the battlefield without it going to the graveyard. And go for the throat. Goes to the graveyard. So that Surgical Extraction is just going to sit around in Sam Black's hand. He'll probably not do anything. So Faithless Looting number 1 gets cast by Sam Black. And we see a Undiscovered Paradise and a second Surgical Extraction was drawn. And he discards one. Interesting.
So he's discarded Gravecrawler.
On Bloodghast and
And-
Surgical Extraction. So now,
No, it's a Faithless Looting, a Gravecrawler, and a Bloodghast.
is that Gravecaller?
I think so, isn't it?
I thought, he
Oh,
drew,
no, that's not a surgical extraction.
I thought it was a second Surgical Extraction.
Don't think so.
Okay, then it's a Gravecrawler.
I think so. Can't quite tell for sure.
Perhaps we could get a judge to at the table to just check that is a Gravecrawler in Sam Black's graveyard.
Well, we'll find out soon enough. Because if Bloodghast is a spirit. It's a spirit vampire. It's not a zombie.
Bloodghast.
Comes back.
Yeah, it is Gravecrawler.
Okay, so it is Gravecrawler. So Sam has all his colors: red, white, black. It's 2 mana. So we're gonna use. We're gonna cast a Bob.
Like a Dark Confident, please.
Charlie staring at his Force of Will.
You know that the currency of Bolivia is the Boliviano, and the 3-letter currency code for that is the Bob. Little World Magic Cup trivia moment for you there.
Hey, you should have saved that for Gen Con.
Oh, don't worry, I'll be getting it out again there.
We're going to Sports Center it all weekend long.
Every 30 minutes through the night.
This just in.
So this is a brainstorm, I believe it's in response to the Dark Confidant. Anime Dead, a land, and what else is going on top? Looks like there's still some consideration. That's it, the Anime Dead and the land go on top. I think it's he's going to draw the land first. Probably not going to draw either of those.
So Sam says, what does Bob give me? Gives me just a free swamp.
Red Mana and Faithful Facility. Sam actually finally drawn a second Surgical Extraction, so it's probably going to discard one of them. I can't imagine him keeping them. Actually knowing that Conley Woods doesn't care about him. There's Sam Black. Discards 2 land, so he's going to keep both of those Surgical Extractions. Attacks for 4. Going to bring Conley down to 13. There's a follow-up land. Let's see what Conley Woods can drum up for his turn. I imagine there's going to be a little bit of action at the end of Sam's turn, even if it's just a fetch land activation. There's actually a lot of consideration that goes into even, when you sacrifice your fetch lands, what lands you're going to get. You can make 2 to 3 mistakes just on a fetch land.
Yeah, I thought in that very first Thoughtseize interaction that we saw, you saw there why people who don't play Legacy regularly often struggle at Legacy, whereas people who play regularly have a huge edge.
Right.
There's a lot going on there.
And obviously, with anything you do, the more you do it, the less things you have to reconsider each time you come up with, a situation. A lot of it, you just understand, well, this is when this happens, this is when this happens, this is when this happens. But if you stop and think at all of the possibilities that can happen from you sacrificing your fetch land and going to get a non-basic land at one point of the game versus another, there's a lot of things to think about. Wasteland, Stifle, just a couple things to think about.
Did someone ban Stifle while I wasn't looking? I haven't seen a single one either in play or in a graveyard or in a deck list that I've looked at this weekend.
And it seems to be pretty good against Gristlebrae. You gotta pay 7 to draw 7 cards. How about you pay 7 to do nothing?
Ooh.
There was really only a couple of decks that played, Stifle as like a main deck card.
Sure. There's Sam and a man holding up a pillar.
And Surgical Extraction is going to go after Elishnorn. That's my assumption.
And Conley is going to force a will that. He does not want that to occur.
But it may still happen.
That is why you keep the second Surgical Extraction, because you know that may get nailed, as it most certainly has done. So I'd like to check your hand, please.
And there's a show and tell that I have to think Sam Black kind of knew was there. And there's an Anime Dead that doesn't really have any targets now.
Yep. Currently nothing.
Anime Dead's a card that actually went through a lot of iterations as to how it actually worked. And I think right now it's Animate Dead Creature. I think it actually enchants a creature in a graveyard.
Yeah.
For a brief amount of time.
Yeah,
And
it
then-
is.
And then they jump out of the graveyard, and
Yes.
it becomes a, just a regular old-fashioned or, anime creature or enchant creature.
Yeah, when it enters the battlefield, if it's on the battlefield, it loses enchant creature card in the graveyard, and it gains enchant creature put onto the battlefield with animate dead. But initially, it's enchant creature card in a graveyard.
Yes. So Sam Black gets a free Tidehouse Sculler, and by free I mean he has to pay 2 life. Also draws a land, so in with the attack, Collie Woods is going to take it, and he's going out of 5. Collie needs to draw. Well, he needed to draw a creature card that his show and tell would be able to get him out of this situation, but now Tidehouse Sculler takes the show and tell, so I don't know what Collie Woods can draw in this situation now. He's thinking about it, because even if you don't know what you're going to draw, if you can figure out a card that you can draw to win the game, then you need to start playing the game from that point, as if you're going to draw that card.
Yeah, it's the bridge discipline, if you will.
Exactly.
If the queen is on my left, I'm stuck. If it's on my right, I can win.
Right.
Therefore, the queen is on my right.
Right.
And then you play from that point, assuming that's true. Because if it isn't, you are going to lose anyway. And if it is, there's your chance to win.
So Collie uses the fetch land, gets his 3rd Underground Sea. The animate dead is actually in Collie Woods' hand. It's not on the battlefield just yet. Nor do I see a spell that's a creature in his graveyard. So something like a Careful Study would actually get a job done.
Uh-huh.
It could get a creature to the graveyard and allow him to use animate dead.
Here we go.
And it stays.
There we go. Game, set, and match to Sam Black. Wow. There you go. That means we're going to see Sam for sure tomorrow with this